This is the story of how my dad saved his life. And now, he's fighting every day to save what matters most. His family, his music, and his soul. He's not doing this for fame. He's doing it to prove who he really is. The original punk and roll outlaw, fighting to stay sober, stay strong, and stay standing. This is more than a podcast. This is a war for redemption. This is the story of my dad. Welcome to Louder Than My Demons.
Before this episode starts, I just want to say this. The decisions I made recently regarding my legal situation were made with my family and my future in mind. It's my business, my life, and I do not regret the choice I made to protect both. That doesn't mean I agree with what I had to do. It just was the best option for me at that time. I'm not here to debate the past. I'm here to build what comes next. I've learned more about myself, about truth, about lies, and about redemption in the last few months than I ever expected. So before we get loud, this is where I stand.
Here we come.
Love isn't supposed to drain you. Respect doesn't tear you down. Passion doesn't demand your peace. If it does, it isn't love. Now, brothers and sisters, let me tell you something about chains. Not the kind that rattle your wrists, the kind that live in your chest. Chains built from words sharper than knives. Chains forged from nights you swore you'd never repeat, but somehow you still did. These are the chains of the trauma bond, invisible shackles forged in fire, cooled in false apologies. They trick you. They whisper that love is found in the storm, that pain is the price of passion. And before you know it, you're locked in, mistaking the weight of those chains for proof that you matter. But hear me, love is not supposed to crush you. Respect doesn't come with bruises or knives. Passion does not demand your peace. So today, we smash the mirror. We stare at those chains for what they are. Lies. Lies we told ourselves. Lies we accepted. Lies we wrapped around our hearts until we couldn't breathe. This is my reckoning. I'm breaking those chains one link at a time. And if you're still locked in them, don't wait too late like I did. You can break them also. You don't need permission. You just need the courage to see the truth in your own reflection.
This week's episode is called Chains in the Mirror. But before we get into the reckoning, let's talk about my gratitude for the week, the things that I'm grateful for. As always, I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for Noah. I'm grateful for my job. I am grateful for my good friends. I'm also grateful for being able to play guitar, for being able to write songs, because I wrote 3 really good songs this week. I'm very excited. I'm going in the studio with Curran in a week to do a couple songs. He had some time and he asked me if I wanted to come in and do a couple songs, and I said yes. So I'm going to record the new song, Pray for the Broken. I'm also going to record, finally, Straight Edge Superstar. So that got me off my butt this week to finish those songs, to record really solid demos, make sure they're the way I want, and then next week we'll go in and record those. So I'm really excited about that. The other thing I'm grateful for this week are the 5 S's, because I got off center the last couple of weeks, and I think I said something about it one of the past episodes, that I was working so hard on this that I let some of the other things slip. I let my songwriting slip. I hadn't written any songs in a couple of weeks. I hadn't had some good workouts like I'm used to, and I hadn't had any good meditation or prayer. Even though I'm praying every day and trying to meditate every day, my meditations fell off, and my prayers were not solid in my mind. So last week, over the weekend, I had a really good weekend last weekend. I got to spend some time with my daughter, which was amazing, and she got to meet Edie, which was awesome. There's nothing like a little girl with a dog, a little puppy that just loves her. And they just hit it off. They were dancing in the kitchen. They were wrestling on the floor in the living room. They were looking out the window together, and my daughter just talks to her like she's a little kid too, and it was awesome. But I had a really good weekend. I made myself promise that Sunday I would go to bed on time. Monday I would get up early, work out, pray, meditate. That I would pray and meditate at lunch. And then I would work on my guitar or songwriting in the evening. That would basically help me cover everything that I needed to cover. And that I would do it every day last week, and I did. I worked really hard, and I did that. And in addition to that, I got one of my new mini episodes out. The Demon Cuts are going to be coming at you every other week, alternating with what I'm calling Outlaw Shots. And they're basically a review, a little 15-minute review show, where last week I did Book of Shadows by Zakk Wylde, or I talked about his album, picked out my 4 favorite songs off the album, and just talked about how it pulled me through that first week, those first 2 months of 2025. And in the future, Outlaw Shots will be covering some books, because some of the stuff I talk about, I'm trying to research and read about ahead of time. And so I want to share some of that stuff. But I'm also going to just share some of the books. Like I got a new Michael Conley book that I need to read. Who's my favorite author. I'm going to read that, and I'll do a review on that at some time. It'll just be for fun. But those are the things that I'm grateful for this week. I'm grateful for my kids, my friends, my job, my lawyer, who, even though he can't keep me out of all the trouble, like my little 1-second phone call, he's doing his best to protect me. I know that. And I'm also grateful for songwriting, and I'm grateful for the 5 S's. All of those are so important to me. But this week's reckoning is really hard for me. It's really hard because I researched a lot for this. Because we all know that I'm no expert. I'm just a guy going through some shit. But when I talk about something and I spit facts out, I want to have those backed up. So I'm reading journals, I'm reading, online interviews, articles, I'm reading books. I'm reading a book right now that I hate, but I'll talk about that later. I don't hate it because it's a bad book, because it's a great book. I hate it because it hurt. So before I get into the reckoning, I want you to know that this is not about pointing fingers. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm looking at a mirror for myself. And I wish that I had thought ahead of time to have a mirror right here with me that I could set over here and look at myself when I'm talking about something that's fucking hurting, right? And there are things that are going to hurt this week. But this is something that I felt was important. It's something that Andy and I have talked about a lot in our therapy. It's something that I've talked about in my aftercare program. It's something that I've talked about with friends. And it's something that I want to talk about with you. And as I'm saying these things,
I am not saying them from an expert standpoint. I am saying these things as somebody who is living through them right now. That's what I did this week as I researched for this podcast. And honestly, I didn't always like the reflection staring back at me. Now, a toxic relationship doesn't just come from one person. It's not just me. It's not just them. It's not just you, and it's not just them. It's a cycle. And when you're caught in that cycle long enough, both people end up playing roles that they never thought that they would. That's what happened to me in my last relationships. At least that's how it feels to me now. Now, the Mayo Clinic and Very Well Minds also say that a toxic relationship is one where the dynamic consistently leaves you drained, unsafe, or disrespected. Those signs: constant conflict, manipulation, jealousy, lack of support, and those relentless cycles of highs and lows. Now, for me, in my situation, that meant fights that never ended. Accusations I couldn't escape and still can't escape. Still, those accusations are being thrown at me. And also, there were moments where I lost myself trying to keep the peace. I'm not saying I was a peacemaker, but there were times where I didn't want to fight and I agreed to things to stop a fight. Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. I won't do that anymore. I'm sorry. And you start losing little pieces of yourself when that happens, and they don't believe you anyhow. They don't accept that. No, you're not. No, you're not. Now listen, I never set out to manipulate anyone. That's not me. I was never jealous. I have never been a jealous guy. But I definitely failed to give the support that person deserved in certain parts of their life. And we were absolutely trapped in that cycle of conflict. And our highs were the best, but our lows were the worst in my life. Now, I heard a quote recently that hit me really hard. A baseball manager who was getting ready to retire said, "I knew it was time to walk away when the wins didn't make up for the losses anymore." And to me, that's exactly what happens when a relationship turns toxic. The losses outweigh the wins until all you feel is empty. And that makes me sad because I miss everything about that person except the arguments. Now, I'm not saying I would go back to that person. I've talked about that, and I don't want to get off and get lost. But I think about it every day, wishing that I could. Because I'm trapped in that cycle still. Now, I know that I can't. And I damn sure know that she wants nothing to do with me, that there's no chance that that would ever happen. I know that for a fact. I don't know that anybody's ever hated anybody on the planet as much as that person hates me. And man, that makes me so sad. So sad. I have to laugh so that I don't cry. Now, we throw the word narcissism and narcissist around a ton these days. But here's the truth. Only about 3% of men in America are diagnosed narcissists. Yet on social media, it seems like 97% of women claim to have dated one. The American Psychiatric Association defines narcissistic personality disorder with 3 traits: grandiosity, a constant need for admiration, and a lack of empathy. But there's a difference between the full-blown disorder and just showing narcissistic traits. And those traits, they show up in all of us sometimes. Selfishness, defensiveness, failing to see the other person's side, or failing to care. That doesn't make you a narcissist. That makes you a human under stress. And that's what I saw in us. Traits, not the disorder. We both had empathy. We both cared. We both cared about each other. We both cared about other people. But in me, it showed up as my ego and selfishness that blinded me from what was going on with that person. And in that person, it was defensiveness,
rooted in almost crippling insecurity and anxiety. And neither of us were narcissists. We were humans under pressure. There were times when I refused to see that anxiety for what it was. I felt that it was used as an excuse for behavior that hurt me. I didn't understand it until I was drowning in my own anxiety over the breakup and the trial. Looking back, I should have shown more grace. I should have studied anxiety, learned how to love someone who carried that weight, but I didn't. And for that, I am truly sorry. I couldn't have saved the relationship, but I could have done a better job of showing up in the beginning. And I'm going to go off the script that I wrote here. I know that some people will look at this and say, well, you're just trying to save your ass. And none of this is going to help me at my trial. Even my getting sober and stuff, I didn't do that to help me at trial. I'm doing this because for the first time in my years, I am taking a deep, truthful look within myself. And I'm sorry that I didn't do this before and that I didn't take that person's issues into account enough to go and research. Yes, I'm sober. Am I proud that I'm sober? Yes. I'm proud because I know that my daughter is going to get to know a sober dad now. I'm proud because my son has become my best friend again because I'm sober. I'm proud because the next woman that I date will reap the benefits of this. I'm sad because of all the things that I lost, all the people I lost, because I lost my dog, I lost time with my daughter, all of the money that I've had to spend on a lawyer because one was not given to me and still have to spend on a lawyer. I'm sad because of all that. And it's my fault for letting my drinking get out of control and for letting my use of stimulants get out of control and for not setting boundaries in the relationship that I was in and letting that person continue to walk over me. They want to talk about what went on with them and what they feel happened, but what went on with me for 18 months, the last 18 months of that relationship, wasn't fair. And dealing with what I'm dealing with this year, the fact that somebody would involve my daughter in a dispute between the two of us. And if you're watching this and still think that that's right, please turn it off. And there were some texts that I sent. 3 of them that I remember clearly, probably more, talking to friends about things that I shouldn't have. Said something to a female that I shouldn't have. Called them cute. My intention was not for any of that to hurt her. My intentions were pure. From the moment of our first kiss until this moment now, all I have done is loved her, even when things were at their worst and I was fearful. Even this year when I can't see my daughter, I had somebody ask me the other day, why, after all of that, would you still be in love with her and why would you still miss her? And I said, I don't fucking know. And then I said, no, I do know, because it's a trauma bond. It's a trauma bond. I just know that when I love deeply. But intentions do not erase mistakes. They don't erase your ego. They don't erase your selfishness. And the pain that I caused when I failed to show that person this love that I feel in the way that they needed and the way that they deserved is a weight that's going to be in my guilt pack forever. That one is permanently installed in there. I'm never going to get that out. And then when you add in alcohol and drugs, both of us drinking too much, doing too much cocaine, it poured fuel onto the fire. Maybe sober, we could have had honest conversations, and maybe therapy could have helped. But instead, we just circled the same arguments, pretending they were solved, knowing we'd repeat them again. Now, we did go to therapy. We both honestly tried with therapy for about 6 months. But what we ended up doing was we would fight the day before, and then on the way there, we would say, well, let's not talk about that one because it's still pretty raw, or because we feel like we've healed it, or whatever. We just decided not to talk about the things we should be fucking talking about in goddamn therapy. And it hurt us. It hurt us. I think we were both afraid we were going to be blamed. I think we were both afraid that they were going to say, it's your fault. It's your fault. Why the fuck are you doing this? And I think we both just tried to avoid that. Now, Patrick Carnes was the guy who first defined trauma bonding. He described it as an emotional attachment built through cycles of abuse and reconciliation. And here's how it works. Tension builds, a fight starts, words fly, sometimes more. Then comes reconciliation, apologies, tenderness, even love, and then a calm. Usually a short piece until that cycle starts over again. The brain clings to this makeup phase because dopamine spikes during this phase. So you literally get chemically hooked on the reconciliation. And that was me. I fought harder, not necessarily to win, but to get back to that closeness. I couldn't stand the thought, still can't, of losing her. And that's the chain that wraps around you. That's the bond that you can't break. No matter how hard I try, I can't break that bond. I'm trying, but it's still there. And even now I feel it. I'll be fine. I'll be walking through the day fine. And then suddenly I'm thinking of her. I'm triggered. My brain chasing that chemical rush. I start thinking, why won't she talk to me? Why did this happen to us? Why did we do this? Why did we fuck this up? Why can't I hold her one more time and talk to her? And boom, there's the hit, there's the rush. That bond is still there. The chain's wrapped a little bit tighter. Man, it's brutal. It's brutal. Now, when we talk about boundaries, healthy boundaries protect your well-being without punishing someone else. But I lost mine. I don't know that I ever installed them. I let that person get away with things that I would never have let anybody else get away with. And I'm sure that they feel the same way, that I got away with stuff that they should have never let anybody get away with. Instead of asking what's really hurting you, I yelled back. Instead of asking, how can I love you better? I yelled louder. Instead of saying, come here, let me talk to you and let me understand what's going on with you, I tried to walk away and not fight anymore. To me, I thought that was the thing to do. And now I know that that's not the thing to do. I stayed when I should have walked away. I begged her back, let her come back when I should have just let go. And that's not love. That's chaos. And it wasn't fair to that person, and it wasn't fair to me. Now, boundaries are not set by waiting until you're fearful or broken and then say enough. That's not a boundary. That's just survival mode. And every time I crossed my own lines, I lost a piece of myself. And then I became this broken person that I am. Now, the book I've been reading for the last week is called Psychopath Free by Jackson Mackenzie, and it was recommended to me online, by chat, by a couple other people to read. And this book has wrecked me. I hate it because I hate the fucking word psychopath being used. That person's not a psychopath, and neither am I. We have some of the traits that they talk about in this book. We have most of the traits. Between the two of us, we have most of the traits. But psychopath, it could have been used, could have just been toxic free. Maybe I would have liked it better. Every time he said the word, just made my skin crawl. It's a great book. The lessons are awesome. You learn more about yourself than you do about dealing with somebody else. You can tell the pain this person has or has been inflicted on this person. And I'm going to talk more about this book in the first Outlaw Shots later this week. I'm going to do a full review of it because this book is deep, it's heavy, and it needs more time than what I can give to it right here. But what it did was it showed traits that I found in myself or that I saw in myself when reading this book that scared me. It also showed traits that I didn't realize were that other person's and that I ignored them for the whole time that we were together until it was too late, until I was in a situation that I couldn't win. No one wins in our situation. Now, the line that destroyed me was this: the people who hurt us the most are often the people we're most afraid to lose. That was me. That was us. If that person read the book, I know they'd blame me for everything, but I'm not doing that. I'm not playing that game. I see traits that both of us had. I see traits in me that I am working to change on a daily basis now. I won't be the same person I was last year. I'll be doing a full review of that book in the mini episode, as I said, but not because I like it. It's just sometimes pain is the truth that we need. And here's the truth that I have found. I wasn't toxic by nature. I became toxic by reaction. My intent was always to defend myself, but my impact was hurtful. Both are true. I own my part. Now that I'm outside the cycle, I finally get to choose who I am. That's my reckoning. Face the chains in the mirror and breaking them one link at a time. Now, a trauma bond is this chain around you that you don't see. The cycle of hurt and reconciliation that convinces your pain is proof of love, but that wasn't it. So let me ask you, have you ever been in something where the fight drained you more than the love filled you back up? Like that manager said earlier? Like I said, our fights started draining more of the love than they were replenishing. Have you ever lost your own boundaries just to keep someone else close or to keep peace? If this hits home, don't just sit with it. Do what I'm doing, even if I'm doing it too late. Face the mirror. And if you're willing, share it. Leave a comment on YouTube or on my first Facebook post. Tell me what chain you're breaking. Tell me what you're dealing with. I open the community on YouTube, by the way, so if you go subscribe, you can participate in the community and talk to other people right there. It'll keep it all in one little place. It's awesome. It's awesome. Now, this reckoning isn't just mine. It can be yours as well. So welcome to Tales from the Guitar Lounge. Now, most of the time when people talk about rock and roll love stories, they go straight to the train wrecks. Sid and Nancy, Kurt and Courtney, Axel and Aaron. We romanticize the chaos, the drugs, the violence, the fire that burned too hot. But what if the real outlaw move isn't burning out, but breaking free? Because some people did. Some people broke those chains. Keith Richards met Patty Hansen in the late 70s, and he's been open about what she means to him. He has said, Patty was the anchor that kept me grounded. I wouldn't have made it out without her. Even Keith, the ultimate outlaw, admits he needed that anchor. Now, Nikki Sixx literally died from an overdose and somehow came back to life. And then he said, I literally died, got clean, and for the first time, I finally found peace with Courtney. It turned out to be the beginning of something new. He didn't just survive, he rebuilt, and then he found peace. Alice Cooper used to brag about beer for breakfast. He wore his addiction like war paint that he wears on his face. And then he found Faith and Cheryl. He said, I had beer for breakfast every day until Faith and Cheryl saved my life. Now, 40 years later, she's still by my side. 4 decades later. Now, he's proof that recovery can build something stronger than chaos. And Bono didn't just stay famous, he stayed committed. He said, Ali, my wife, has been with me since we were teenagers. Through all of it, the fame, the chaos, she's still here. Even with the world on his shoulders, he held on to her, and she held on to him. Now, Duff McKagan nearly drank himself to death, but sobriety gave him a second chance. He said, I nearly drank myself to death. Sobriety gave me that second chance, and with it, I found real love. Today, Duff and his wife, Susan Holmes McKagan, are proof that recovery isn't the end. It's the start of something lasting. Now, these aren't fairy tales. These are people who faced death, faced addiction, stared into the mirror, and came out the other side with love that lasts. Now, when I compare that to my own story, yeah, there was love, there was fun, but there was also chaos. There were chains. With Natalie, there was passion, but also the chains of that rock star lifestyle. The late nights, the excess, the chaos that felt like freedom at the time, but then it turned out to be a prison. And with my most recent relationships, the same thing, but in a different form. Trauma bonds, chains of insecurity, chains of crippling anxiety, chaos dressed up like passion. We thought the lifestyle was what we wanted, but what I really wanted is gone. And every time the lifestyle chained us down instead of setting us free. If I could start that over, maybe things would be different if I was sober. But there are no do-overs. These aren't fairy tales. These are choices. Survival has to come first. But someday when I've healed enough, when I've learned enough, and when I've earned it, I hope I'll find what those guys found. A love that doesn't chain you down, but sets you free. Because the truth is, some people do break those chains. They smash the mirror and face their demons. And then they find a love that lasts. And that gives me hope. And that's what keeps me going. That one day, I can too.
So I talked earlier about writing a new song that I wrote this week called Prayer. Well, actually, it's called Pray for the Broken. Out of all this reflection, something unexpected happened, and the song just kind of popped out of me. I had an opportunity to go record with one of my favorite guys in the world, Curran Murphy. He had some time to fill, and he wanted to see if I wanted to do a couple songs, and I said, yeah, hell yeah, I'll do that. This song didn't come from a place of bravado. It came out of confession. It came out of some desperation. It was me wanting resurrection and redemption, which is what I've been looking for every day this year, more than I've ever wanted anything in my life. The riff to this song is heavier than some of the other stuff. I'm going to play it, a little bit of it on this guitar, but I wrote it on my baritone, and that thing's just heavy and brutal. I don't know if you can see it right there with the flames on it. George Lynch created that guitar, and it's probably my favorite to play. It's light, it sounds evil. It's just really cool. If you've ever heard the Lynch Mob album Revolution, that's where he took all the old Lynch Mob and Dokken songs and redid them, but evil sounding, man. It's really cool. So I wrote this couple riffs, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty driving. I'm not going to play the whole song. I'll just play a little bit of the chorus, but it just feels heavy and deliberate and almost impossible to ignore. And the lyrics, they're a plea. They're a demand for a prayer of forgiveness, a prayer of strength, a prayer to be more than the wreckage that I left behind. I think I wrote it because of everything I've been saying here today, because of Psychopath Free. Hate that title. Because of staring into that mirror and seeing not just the person I wanted to be, but the person that I actually was. And knowing that the person that looks in the mirror now is not that person I was a year ago. This isn't just my song, though. It's going to be for anyone who's felt cast out, misunderstood, or stuck in their own cycle. It's for the people clawing their way back from addiction, from heartbreak, from shame, or from self-destruction. It's for anyone trying to rise again. When I sing Pray for the Broken, I'm not just singing about me. I'm singing for you if this means you. For all of us who've been broken and are still daring to believe in redemption. The outlaw in me isn't rebelling against the world anymore. He's now rebelling against the version of myself that settled for less than love, less than respect, and less than truth. I'm also rebelling against the version of myself that offered less than love, less than respect, less than the truth. That's resurrection. That's redemption. And that's why this song matters. So I'm going to play a little bit of the chorus of it. I've been told that you guys kind of like some of these, so I'm hoping that you like this one as well. Okay? Okay. We're going to play the chorus of Pray for the Broken, but I will have a debut of that on this show in the next couple weeks. We'll debut both songs that I'm going to record with Curran. We'll do it on maybe a mini episode. We'll do a mini episode. I'll record while I'm in the studio and put together a little thing, show you guys. We'll put it on Demon Cuts. And then you guys will be able to hear both songs when they're finished. Hopefully in the next couple weeks. I'm looking forward to going in and recording it. But this song is called Pray for the Broken, and this is just the chorus. Okay? So pray for the broken. Pray for me. Pray for the broken. Because the devil can't take what he can't say. Pray for the outlaw. Pray for me. Pray for the outlaw. I'm thinking of nothing has been said. Pray. Just a little teaser. I hope you like it. You're going to enjoy the whole song. Believe me, it's different. It's got a death metal breakdown on it as of now. That doesn't mean it'll stick around. But right now, it's crazy. It's a cool modern rock song. I think you'll like it. Pray for the Broken. Stick around. This week's journal entry is a little bit different. It's not one that I've already written in my journal. This is what I would write in my journal today, talking about this topic. When I sat with this topic, the truth I saw was simple. I ignored my boundaries. I let chains form around me, and I became someone I didn't want to be. Alcohol and drugs only added to that. But that doesn't make me a villain, as I'm so often portrayed. The man you love to hate, the man you can't erase. It just makes me human. I'm flawed, I'm hurting, I'm still learning. But now I choose different paths. I choose boundaries instead of explosions. Journaling instead of bottling it up. Accountability instead of shame. I'm learning how to be honest about my flaws without drowning in them. How to be honest with the people around me, no matter the cost. Now, that's my journal entry today. I'm going to go put it in my journal, as a matter of fact. That's where I'm at right now, this minute. I'm raw. I'm unfinished. But every day I'm breaking chains, one link at a time. Let me tell you something. Sometimes the real outlaw move isn't burning out. It isn't chaos or fire or destruction. The real outlaw move is breaking free. Don't wait until it's too late. Choosing to live, and choose to live louder than our demons. So here's what I've learned staring into the mirror this week. Narcissism isn't always some villain in the story. Sometimes it's just insecurity. Toxic relationships don't always start toxic. They become toxic. And trauma bonds, they convince you that hurt is love, but it isn't. Now, I let my boundaries slide. I let chains lock me in, and that's on me. But I'm not staying locked anymore, because people do come back from this. Keith Richards, Alice Cooper, Nikki Sixx, Duff McKagan, Bono. They faced chaos. They smashed the mirror. They broke the chains. And they built lives and love that lasted. That tells me it's possible. So when I play Prayer for the Broken, I know it's not just my prayer. It's a declaration. It's me saying I won't be bound by that mirror again. My chains are cracked. My reflection is shattered. And what's left is me. Raw, imperfect, but free to choose who I become next. And if you're listening, know this. You don't have to wait until you're broken to make that choice. Don't wait too long like I did. If you're in something toxic, break the chain, get away now. Smash the mirror, because love doesn't have to chain you down. Love can set you free. And the only way we get there is by being louder. We recover louder than our demons.
Hi, this is Jozey. Thank you so much for listening today. If you've been listening since the beginning, you know that we missed a couple weeks. I'll talk more about that next week. If you're a new listener, please hit the subscribe button, like button, share it, do all the things. We appreciate that. This was a hard episode to release for many reasons, but it was necessary. Next week, I'll talk more openly about what the last month has taught me, where I'm heading, and what the future of Louder Than My Demons looks like from here. Until then, stay grounded, stay honest, stay grateful, and keep fighting your demons. Peace.